I wasn't able to make the Thursday night member race at Sheffield, so I decided to book onto the 8 AM 50 lap race on Saturday morning. This is a race format that is open to anyone of all abilities, and the aim is simple: be the first person to complete 50 laps from a standing grid start. The grid is set up in a random order, and of the 9 drivers, I'm starting in 6th place. Let's jump straight to that grid then and wait for those lights to turn green. With my quick reaction, I make my way up to 5th before we even cross the line. I had to hit the brakes for a moment as the kart in front was a fair bit slower to move away. I go around the outside of another kart into turn 1 and I'm already up into 4th place. I get a good exit from turn 2 and pass not 1 but 2 karts on the run to top pit bend. There's just one driver left then, the only other member on the track. Not someone I've raced before, but we chatted before the race, and he's done a few of these 50 lappers. But I'm able to get straight past on the run to the hairpin before the ramp. Okay, so it's become obvious this public session is full of drivers who are far less experienced than I am. That's okay, I'll have to come up with some way to challenge myself, and so I introduce the 50 lap race lapping challenge. I'm going to score a point for every kart I now lap, but I'm also going to give myself a penalty and lose 2 points if I make any form of contact with another kart, no matter who is at fault. If I make significant contact with a barrier, that'll be another penalty. Just brushing the barrier is okay, but significant contact will be if I lose speed or the kart is forced into another direction. And here is my first penalty. Through the final section, I turn in a little early right-hander and hit the barrier, losing quite a bit of speed as a result. As I start the 5th lap, I get the first sight of the karts at the back of the field. And as we come around the back section, I begin to slow down and prepare to pass. But I completely misjudge their speed and tap the back of them. That's another penalty for me. This isn't a good start. Thankfully though, a switchback in the hairpin sees me earn my first point. After a patient wait, the next car is lapped around the outside of top pit bend. I took a look up the inside, but I've backed out for the moment. I'll take it for the ramp instead. As I approach kart 13 to lap it for the second time, I backed out at the last minute as I didn't think they'd quite seen me. They went wide through turn 1 though, allowing me to pass on the inside. The next kart took a very wide line into turn 2, almost catching me out once again. No contact, but it's a pass, so that's another point for me. The next karts are all bunched together here. I'll need to be very careful as I'll be at risk of making contact if I try to pass whilst they are fighting. Kart 14 was easily passed going up the final ramp, and Kart 13 was passed again by the start line. Finally, after a small wait, I pass up the inside of top pit's bin. A risky move, but it paid off. It's time for another penalty though, as I clip the inside barrier, pushing the kart a little hard to the right. The group so far have been pretty good, but out comes the red flag for the first time. So after a short wait, we're off once again. And it's once again kart 13 ahead of me. I leave plenty of space before going past through the turns. We've got a few more karts coming up, starting with number 9. I just hold it up the inside. Kart 10 is driven past going up the ramp. And whilst waiting for a gap for Kart 2, I get a penalty on the inside barrier. Before Kart 10 tries their hand getting back in front, causing some contact. That's a second penalty, even though I wasn't at fault. I'll go late on the brakes into turn 2 to get clear then. Lap 21 sees me catch the car in 3rd place, who waves me on by. Thanks. Kart 13 is practically stationary on the exit of turn 1, the easiest pass yet. But I hit the barrier, losing speed and earning another penalty point. Kart 14 locks their brakes in a non-braking zone, odd, but that allows me to pass them in the actual braking zone before the ramp. Next up, it's Kart 7, the second fastest driver on the track. I pass him and I've passed everyone. And it's a nice easy one on the brakes. Out come the red flags though as I watch the kart ahead ignore the lights and proceed to go down the ramp. We're very quickly back to greens for this one though. Damn, that barrier took a lot of speed off. That's another penalty. I really need to focus. Kart 22 is passed on the brakes as we reach the halfway mark of this race. Let's take a quick look at the challenge so far then. I've lapped 17 karts over these 25 laps, and that's everyone in the race has been lapped at least once now. However, I've managed to get 7 penalties. It's going to be tight. So we rejoin the action, having caught kart 9. I have to wait for a suitable place to pass though. A quick switch back out of the lower pits sees that happen easily enough. Kart 2 is passed with ease heading up the ramp, as Kart 13 stays well out of the way around the back section. Despite the little bit of traffic on that lap, it was my fastest lap of the race with a 57.102, a time I'm very happy with. I'm going to give myself a penalty here. I brushed the barrier on the right-hander and then brushed again on the left. The second time did push the car a little wide. And here's another penalty. I clipped the apex barrier and it pushed me wide once again. It's time to earn some points then. I thought about it briefly on the brakes into turn 2, but decided to wait instead. I then took another half-hearted look into turn 3, almost colliding with the back of the other cars. They decided to go slow, and in the end, it's an easy pass then. This half isn't going so well. Another hit of the barrier, it's another penalty. I had to lift slightly before the final corner, but that's another kart lapped. caught the next kart to pass, but I lose focus. This one is a big hit. The other driver appears to lift off a little at the top of the ramp, allowing me to come past. There is more significant barrier contact on lap 34. And a second penalty. That brush unsettled the kart. This is one messy lap. It's a huge hit on the barrier there. I lost a lot of speed. Kart 10 is putting some defensive moves, although I'm not sure they know that they're doing it. I get a magnificent run up the ramp before squeezing through a rapidly closing space, somehow avoiding all contact. I lean forward to readjust my rib protector and then get massively caught out by kart 18 taking a rather unusual line through turn 2. I looked to go around the outside of top pit's bend but couldn't quite make it work, before I finally get past in turn 5 with their once again unusual line. This could be interesting then. I've caught a group of 3 drivers. Let's see what happens. After what felt like a long wait, I passed kart 2 heading up the ramp just in time for the red flags to come out. I come to a stop and he unlaps himself. The sarcastic clap makes me feel a little bit better. Having removed my glove to investigate what I thought might have been a blister, we returned to yellow before I got it back on properly. Still, it's back on before we do go to greens. Another long wait and I get past kart 2 once again. I won't award myself another point for that one though. Kart 22 is next then, with an easy late break into turn 1 seeing me get past. Kart 25 in 3rd place in the race waves me on past. before a switchback sees me also pass kart 14. There's another easy pass for me as they go deep into the turn 5 hairpin. I catch kart 18, but I decide to wait through turn 1. I get a better exit and pass on the outside for turn 2. Oh dear, that has to be another penalty. The kart lost a lot of momentum with that hit. And another penalty for barrier contact. The force pushed the kart wide here. As I've caught the driver in second place, kart 7, they've caught up to another back marker, so I decide to sit back and wait. I then got bored and passed kart 7, but as kart 18 takes an odd line into turn 2, I go for the outside as kart 7 unlaps themselves up the inside. I do get around kart 18 through the outside of Top Pit's bend. And a lap and a half later, and I've caught back up now to kart 7. It's just a waiting game. A switchback through the lower pit section lines me up for a late brake into the hairpin, and finally I'm passed. It's the final lap then as kart 14 catches me out on the brakes into turn 1, before then braking hard on entry into turn 2. I think it was to allow me past, which is appreciated, but there are safer ways of doing it than that. Heading towards Top Pit's bend, I see Elliot on the move. I know this is the end. coming up the ramp, Elliot is running towards the back marshal post to grab the checkered flag. So is he going to wave it from the finishing line? And if so, can I beat him to it? No, he was waving it from the marshal post instead. It was a public session, and to be fair, that means it has the potential to be a very long, interrupted race with lots of red flags. Only having 9 drivers probably did help with that quite a bit. Obviously, the driving ability and experience was far below my level, so it's not particularly surprising to see I was the fastest kart on track by over 2 seconds. So how did the challenge go then? Well, over the course of those 50 laps, I lapped 34 karts on track, not in the pits, earning myself 34 points. 2 of those karts did unlap themselves, but I haven't awarded a further point when I passed them once again. There was only 1 penalty for contact with another kart where I was the cause, but I did apply a second penalty for kart contact as I was squeezed on lap 18 by another kart. Kart contact was a penalty regardless of who was at fault. Each penalty cost me 2 points, so I'm down to 30 points from those 2. I made a lot of contact with the barrier, but were there 15 penalties applied? Well, thankfully, no. I only gave myself 14 penalties for barrier contact, leaving me with just 2 points overall. There were several brushes with the barrier, but having reviewed the footage several times, I don't believe these caused the kart to lose speed or change direction, which was my criteria for significant contact. So next time you find yourself in a race with a big difference in driving abilities, try to challenge yourself. So as always then, thank you so much for joining me on my go-karting adventures. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up and leave any feedback down below in those comments. Until next time, cheers.